We are back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good Friday afternoon, and I'm again joined by Mr. Bill Schuster. How you doing, Bill?
Good, good, good. Still wide awake, kind of,
Same
but
here.
ready for action.
Same here. But this is a PG show, so that I'm going to keep it PG. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our second attempt to tape 1988. So here we go. Ladies and
Wish us
gentlemen,
luck.
we are here to present our top five albums of the 80s. And in this episode, like I said, we are tackling the year 1988. And without further ado, I will pass the virtual mic over to Mr. Bill Schuster. There you go, Bill.
Thank you, sir. All right. Many of these I do not have physical props for like I normally often do because I owned them, most of them on cassette initially because we were in that era. And I have not replaced many of them other than digital. So this is one of those. This is my exploratory late 80s Columbia House BMG Record and Tape Club. Let's see what kind of cool alternative, real alternative music is out there. Things I've never heard before and don't hear on the radio. And one of those was The Pursuit of Happiness with
Mhm.
their album Love Junk. The band leader Mo Berg, main songwriter and vocalist, and Mo Berg is quite a an intelligent, witty songwriter. Yeah, you can sometimes get a good chuckle out of his lyrics, but he gets down into the heart of the human condition quite well too. He's like I said, at this album, he's the perpetually horny young male trying to ease his way into adulthood and not necessarily liking a transition. But yeah,
Mhm. True enough.
lots of fun along the way. Yeah, I'm an adult now. In fact, is one of the songs on here, and he talks about getting drunk and maybe I call my dad up and invite him. And there's a song called "Looking for Girls," and uh, well, there's a line in here: "Hold your ears, ye of pure minds and hearts." Says, "I like them skinny, I like them fat. As long as they go for guys like me, I like them like that." Uh, could be a communist or but that, yeah, hell, I've lost track now. Something about communist with my luck.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's the kind of girls you really want to fuck. I'm looking for girls. Yeah. So
Really? I didn't even know that.
yeah, he gets a little crude a couple of times in here. So if you're not into the occasional f bomb or sexual, well, it's beyond innuendo there.
Yeah.
Uh, you might want to steer clear. But he also has some much more romantic songs, much a little less guttural. There is a particular song on here called "Walking in the Woods" that's always stood out to me. It's about this girl that he saw on, if I recall correctly, a subway. Um, he didn't ever get to meet her, and he saw her in the paper later, and she'd been murdered. And
Jeez.
yeah, the key line in is, "I'm sorry, pretty girl, I didn't get to meet you, but when you walk in the woods, sometimes the wolf's going to eat you." And yeah, it's a really touching, sad, disturbing kind of song, but yeah, done really well. And there are I cannot remember their names right offhand. There are two female uh, backing vocalists that
Yeah.
add lovely harmonies and counterpoints and everything to here that work well with Mo's voice.
Yeah.
Had a really nice touch to it. So yeah, this is alternative before it was a category, really. When it was just college rock basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's a good choice. The Pursuit of Happiness are from Edmonton, from Alberta. And they were signed to Chrysalis Records, right? And the story goes, the guy, I think they were signed out of New York, and the record company a guy asked them, "Who would you like to have produce your album?" And Moberg says, Todd Rundgren, right? Just off the top of his head, because ain't no way Todd Rundgren's going to agree to produce this. Well, Todd Rundgren said yes, and the rest they say is history. Um, that's a good choice. I forgot about them completely. I mean, should turn in my Canadian citizenship or
Yeah,
whatever. You know.
it's pretty bad when I'm bringing up the ones from your home turf.
Bloody hell, man. Yeah. My favorite song in the album is She's So Young.
Yeah, that is a good one too.
Um,
The know-it-all young
she's so
girl.
young, she's got the answers. Yeah.
Yeah,
She doesn't need to question her life like I do, right? It's
yeah.
like whole at 18, I was listening to this going, what the hell am I like? It it hit me at 18 years old. And uh, what I like about that track is it's got good uh, call and like point and counterpoint, call and response between him and the backup vocalist, right? So it's just beautiful, actually. Very, very emotive and a very emotive track. I need a bloody tea. Anyways, no, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. Um, my number five, ladies and gentlemen, before Bill's internet connection probably craps out,
Yeah.
is Talk Talk with Spirit of Eden. This is a follow-up to their 1986 album, Color of Spring. This sees the band go further into more of experimental jazz fusion kind of a situation. Um, with songs like the first three tracks on side one. I do believe there's like six tracks on the album. I have the CD in the other room in the box. I have to. There are six tracks on this album. Um, the first track on side one is the Rainbow, and then follow it segues into Eden. Very experimental, tinged again using live instruments. They were pissing off EMI at this point because EMI wanted them to be more commercial, and they said no, we're going to do what we're going to do. Um, so yeah, the first three tracks on side one are again the Rainbow, Eden, and Desire, right? And just again very experimental. If you're expecting It's My Life and Life's What You Make It, no, it ain't gonna be on this album. So it's, you know what I mean? I got into this album about a year and a half ago, when someone who will remain nameless, uh, recommended this to me. Um, and I did buy it. I got it for like $12 on Amazon, which was a good deal. But like I said, the person who recommended it will remain nameless, um, because I don't like them. Anyways, we're moving on. That's my number five.
Right. Yeah, good pick. That was my bedtime music not too long ago here. That's that this band had a very interesting evolution in their short album career. They really
Yeah,
went far from where they began.
yeah, oh, definitely, definitely.
Which was pretty cool. Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
it's not over yet.
yeah, well, it's true. It's true.
All right, it is over now. Obviously, Mark Hollis has died, but yeah, I'm saying it's not over yet in terms of our countdown necessarily.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, good choice. Um, my next one is another one I don't have a physical of anymore. It is the first full length album by the band that Nirvana wished they could have been, and Kurt Cobain even admitting to copying from for Smells Like Teen Spirit. It is the Pixies with Surfer Rosa. And yeah, Nirvana's all well and good, but I'll take the originals any day. The Pixies were such a weird, brilliant band. I mean, they
Yeah.
still are now that they're three-quarters of them are back together. Kim Deal is no longer in the band, of course. But yeah, here they were kind of revolutionary at this point in time. There was nothing like them. Black Francis, as he was known at the time, also went by Frank Black later in his solo career. Black Francis had quite a unique voice. He did screams that would put the greatest metal singers to shame. Bone crushing, blood curdling stuff, and just when these guys rocked, they really rocked. But they could also do cool little surf music. Um,
Hmm.
they were
Cool.
kind of all over the map, had pop hooks of sorts. But on this album, there's a track, Where Is My Mind, that apparently has become popular due to its inclusion in a movie. I don't remember what the movie is right offhand. It's slipping my mind. Well, yeah, Where Is My Mind? Oh, that's appropriate. I didn't intend that, but yeah, there we
There you
go.
go. There you
Uh,
go.
apparently, that's the most popular song for many people on this album, but it's not one that stood out to me. Gigantic is one of the rare Kim Deal vocals on here. Usually, Black Francis did the lion's share of the vocals and wrote most of the songs, but this is one of Kim's songs, and it's quite lovely. Uh, Tony's theme is a fun one. It's just this simple little. This is a song about a superhero named Tony. It's called Tony's theme, and that's really the lyrics
Yeah.
repeated again and again. And yeah, it's this is the crude Pixies. They hadn't quite refined themselves as they would on their next album, but this it's fun. It's just a blast. It's very, like I said, innovative for its time. There was nothing quite like this,
Hmm.
and their imitators were still trying to catch up to them. In fact, they're probably still trying to catch up to themselves, frankly.
Okay.
Yeah, Surfer Rosa by the Pixies, number
Cool.
4.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I never would never peg you as a Pixies fan, but there you go. There you go. Um, my number four, ladies and gentlemen, is from Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Um, s- as I said in other videos, I'm a late bloomer when it comes to, or late to the party when it comes to Iron Maiden as a fan. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, is basically a concept album, and this is my one prop for the show.
Hey,
It's based on a book called Seventh Son by Orson Scott Card. This version of the book, I will try and hold it up to you. Forgive my stubby little fingers. Um, Here it is. You can tell me, Bill, if you can see it. Or
yeah, Seventh Son and Red Prophet, Orson
yeah,
Scott.
this book contains two stories by Orson Scott Card, Seventh Son and Red Prophet. And upon reading, what tends to happen with me, guys, is if I read something on Wikipedia, that if an album was inspired by a book, I tend to look up the book and buy the bloody book. Now, have I read it yet? No. Will I read it? Yes. Um, but getting back to the album, the big hit for me that I remember from this album was Can I Play with Madness? Okay. Fantastic arrangements on this album. Heavy as all effing get out. Um, the band for me at this point were on firing on all cylinders, just going for the throat. I've always loved Steve Harris's bass playing. The I don't know how he does it. I don't know how to describe it. Finger tapping, the way he does it, like the finger plucking, multiple finger plucking, right? I can't explain it better than that. Um, Adrian Smith and Dave Murray, the twin guitar, harmony guitar playing on this. Nickel McBain, amazing. The amazing vocals of Bruce Dickinson on this, just the harmony vocals on this. And, the other tracks on the album, aside from Can I Play with Man, is Moonchild that starts the album, The Clairvoyant, Infinite Dreams, The Evil That Men Do. Okay. Just an amazing album, very heavy. And again, this is where the band were going into their progressive metal phase where songs were very intricate in terms of arrangements, multi-layered in terms of the guitars. Um, they started to use keyboards on this album and synth bass on this album and multi parts, different sections, which, different time signatures. uh, which brings in the progressive rock uh, portion of it. So it's just an amazing album. So yeah, and again, I went out one day and I bought 5 albums of Black Sabbath from like Number of the Beast up until like up until this album, Seven Son or Seven Son. Play them back to back. Couldn't hear straight after the fact, because loaded up my CD player with them, and I just loved it. But this album for me is a fantastic piece of work. So that's my number 4.
It is a good one. It's very divisive amongst hardcore Maiden fans. Of course, some people absolutely think it's the best thing they ever did. Some people can't stand it, think it's where they pretty well jumped the shark. So depends on your taste. I think it's a really good album, and
Well,
I feel like their modern albums since Bruce rejoined the band call back a lot more to this than to the earlier albums.
here's a quick question for you. Why are bands not allowed to progress, to evolve?
Because their fans lack imagination. I don't know.
He said it, folks, not me.
I
um,
I, I really like artists who evolve. Obviously, I mean, there are reasons that I'm a big fan of Joe Jackson and Rush and the Beatles. That these artists that changed and
yeah,
tried new things throughout their careers. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. No.
So yeah, I like the fact that Iron Maiden stepped outside of their box a bit here.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right, my number 3 is another one that I had on cassette and I currently only have a digital copy of. So, and she's been in the news lately because she performed her most famous song on the Grammys. This is Tracy Chapman with her self-titled debut. I remember when this came out, everybody I knew seemed to own and like this album. It was a breath of fresh air. It was one of these albums that kind of brought everybody together. People who wouldn't normally listen to her particular brand of whatever you would call it, folk, pop, soul, would get into this album. I mean, I knew metalheads that, okay, yeah, I got that Tracy Chapman album. And yeah. So that's pretty cool. It's hard to find albums like that.
Hmm.
Uh, and obviously it still resonates with people because there was the popular country cover there, and then her on the Grammys. Apparently, I didn't watch it, but from everything I've read about it, it was a pretty triumphant appearance and brought tears to people's eyes,
Yeah.
and so which is pretty cool. And the song, of course, is "Fast Cars" that I'm talking about. That was the hit, the single off of the album. But the whole album is quite good. It's there are no weak tracks on this. Uh, the song that sticks with me now and kind of makes me a bit sad is talking about a revolution because again, this is one of those songs in my younger days. I thought, oh yeah, this is all going to happen, and well, here I am now, almost 56, and a lot of the things that she was talking about in the lyrics of that song that were happening or about to happen still haven't happened yet. So
I
maybe
get
sometimes we got our hopes up a little too much, but it's still good to go back and listen to this album and try to get back a piece of that hope. Uh, yeah, Mountain of Things is another one that stands out.
yeah.
It really just nails our shallow consumer culture. Or I mean, God, look behind me. I'm a big part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
got to have more. Got to have more records. Got to have more CDs. A mountain of things.
Hmm.
Yeah. Damn.
Yes, you
Way
are.
to hit me, Tracy. Not nice. And yeah, I'm gonna guess most people of a proper age here are at least familiar with this album, at bare minimum with Fast Car, because it was all over the place, and apparently it has been again. So yeah, Tracy Chapman with her debut, she's put out more good music since then, but this is still the one that people go back to. It's still the Tracy Chapman album.
Yeah. 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 No, I got you. By the way, Fast Car is #1 on iTunes right now.
The original version or the
The
Grammy
original,
version?
the original,
All right,
due
nice.
to the Grammy performance.
Good for her. Hope she's getting more royalties so she can buy a mountain of things.
There you go. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, my #3 is Tracy Chapman with self-titled. I should really put a disclaimer on the beginning of these episodes saying all choices picked by the panelists, duplicates are done by accident. I swear to
Yep.
God. This album, I mean, the big hit from this album was Fast Car. 88, 87, 88. What do we have on the radio? George Michael.
Hair
Okay.
metal.
What was that?
Hair metal.
Hair metal, George Michael. This album came out of left field and just smacked everybody in the face and said, listen to me, listen to this. Uh, Fast Car for me at 18 years old with the lyrics, we got to make a decision, leave tonight or live and die this way. We have to make a decision to live our lives. We have to change. We have to want to be the ones to make the change. If we're going to make a change, we have to do it now. At 18 years old, um, that really hit me in the face. That smacked me like almost unconscious. That's how strong it was for me. And forgive this rant just for 30 or 60 seconds. For those of you out there that are saying that Taylor Swift is writing her own narrative and she's in charge of her own life, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Go back and listen to the debut album, Tracy Chapman. Go back even further and listen to Blue from Joni Mitchell with songs like River, All I Want, This Flight Tonight. Women in music were writing their own narrative way before Taylor Swift. And they will continue to do so after Taylor Swift. That's all I'm going to say. This album for me is fantastic. Other songs of note, okay, Fast Car, the big hit, Talking About a Revolution, Baby Can You Hold Me, or Baby Can I Hold You? Sorry, I couldn't even read my own bloody typing here. Across the Lines, the one track that's like 1 minute and 50 seconds, but packed a hell of a punch. Behind the Wall, talking about a woman who is being beaten by her husband to the point where the cops wouldn't do anything for her until she was taken out in a body bag. Okay? And I lived that because I lost my sister to someone who couldn't give up control over her. So that song for me hits home really hard. That is a wake up call. So it is for that reason alone that this is my #3 album of 1988.
That's a powerful song. Yeah. That's yeah, even without the personal connection, it's a powerful song. I can't imagine having the personal connection to it.
I'm glad you don't. Sorry.
All right. Um, how in the hell am I supposed to follow
One word at a time.
that? All right. All right. Um, I do have a prop for this one.
I bet you do.
All right, this is one of the most badass album covers ever. The same time Tracy Chapman album came out, this is another a female singer songwriter who had a smaller hit called Anchorage. This is Michelle Shocked.
I
And for years,
remember.
I never got the name Michelle Shocked. So yeah, it took me years before I picked up on that obvious, yeah, name there. But anyway, yeah, I had it on cassette, and within the last few months, I found the CD out in the wild, and I found the record. Notice the different color on the print there.
Hmm.
But badass thing about this cover, that's actually Michelle herself getting choked by a cop at a protest. This is a picture the newspaper took and was in the paper. So I mean, imagine that being your album cover. Yeah, that's me. I'm out there getting my ass kicked by the cops protesting stuff. So she's not just a talker, she's a doer, which makes these songs have greater strength because, she's not talking out of her ass here. This is somebody that's
Hmm. Hmm.
put her feet in the fire, so to speak. Of course, Anchorage has nothing to do with that. The song that got the radio play, Anchorage, is just this nice acoustic little song about
Yeah.
writing letters with old friends, uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
I
it's
remember that.
kind of sweet. It's
Yeah.
hey, show, what's it like being a New York City punk rocker? Leroy says hello. It's a sweet song. It should have been a bigger hit, I think, but it sounded pretty fresh on the radio at the time. This also has a song about it's called Graffiti Limbo, about a graffiti artist who, speaking of the cops again, Michelle and cops don't mix, by the way, in case you haven't figured it out.
Hmm.
He was murdered in police custody, uh, apparently choked to death. And this is her little tribute song to him to give you an idea of some of the stuff she's singing about here. It's not all like that. She also talks about her childhood in East Texas and talks about making liquor store runs when you got basically 15 minutes to make a 30-minute trip before the liquor store closes. You got to go over to the next county because your county's dry, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a hidden song. I don't know if it's on the record because I still have not played this yet since I got the record, but it's on the CD and it was definitely on the cassette. There's this it's called Fogtown. It's kind of a punkier, more upbeat song. So it's not all just acoustic on here. But yeah, this is really cool. She had another one after this. I'm trying to think, was it the Campfire Tapes? I don't remember for sure, but
Hmm.
I never really followed up after that. I kind of read up on her further career a while back, and
Hmm.
eventually I need to get around to it. But this is really the only album I've ever owned by her, and yeah, again, obviously I like it. I mean, I
Yeah.
keep buying it, so
Yeah. Anchorage got a lot of play here in Canada too on Much Music when Much Music played videos.
and
Um, yeah. Anyways, I digress. Oh, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. My number two, ladies and gentlemen, is Living Color with Vivid. Um, Fantastic album. And I gotta say, the first time I've noticed that an African American band played bloody heavy rock. Okay. You have Vernon Reid on guitars, who, in my opinion, is a bloody virtuoso of a guitarist. Um, Corey Glover on vocals, Muzz Killings on bass, and Will Calhoun on drums. I remembered all the names. I'm good. And I mean, just an amazing album. The lead off single, which was called Middleman, which really didn't hit all that well. But when the second single, Cult of Personality, was released, this album took off. And it's just heavy, like heavy drums, blistering guitar solos, like almost shredding. To me, he's almost like the Eddie Van Halen of the 80s. Um, just amazing. Other songs, like Glamour Boys, which is more of a funky kind of fun romp of a track, which features Mick Jagger on backing vocals and production, I do believe. Broken Hearts is another good track. Um, and an, another track of note is What's Your Favorite Color theme song, which is like the second to last. I think it's the 10th track on the 11 tracks. Just funky as all get out. I mean, an ass shaker of a track, but I'm telling you, heavy as all get out. Um, to me, this is an album again that came out of left field that I really didn't know about. I had the cassette through they were signed to Epic at the time. Did their other albums live up to this, you know, stature? No, unfortunately. They have released their last album was came out, I believe, in 2017. The name escapes me right now. But this is a fantastic album. Open Letter to a Landlord was another uh, emotionally charged track, heavy track. Um, the lead off lyric, you can tear a building down, but you can't erase a memory. You know, it's just like, holy shit. That was an open cry to municipal government saying, look at the cities that you're leaving behind or leaving in your wake or that you're ignoring. And these people that are living in poverty and your your answer to everything is to not fix what's there, but just to tear it down. You know what I mean? Just like a wake-up call to governments around the world, but most notably in the US, right? Just an amazing album. If you can get yourselves a copy of this or even stream it on YouTube, go right ahead. You will not be disappointed. So that's my number two.
I follow Vernon Reed on social media, and he is still uh, he's quite the firebrand. He's fun to follow. He's always bringing up unsung musicians, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's still on one.
Amazing. Just an amazing album. I mean, and again, I honestly believe he is a virtuoso.
Yeah,
He is.
absolutely.
He is. He can shred like no one's business
Oh yeah.
and leave you there for the wolves. So, all right, you're number one.
All right, my number one. All right, we haven't heard from them for a little while. It's Blue Oyster Cult, Imaginos, or is it Blue Oyster Cult? Well, that's a long story. We don't have long enough to cover that whole story in this
Depends who
video.
you talk
Suffice
to.
it to
Yeah.
say that this was initially an Albert Bouchard solo album done in conjunction with original Cult manager, producer, blah, 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 Sandy Pearlman. And record company suits came in and it turned into a Blue Oyster Cult album. Albert's vocals were mostly taken off, and Buck and Eric were brought in to add some vocals and a little bit of guitar on top. But there was a guitar orchestra in here. There was a number of people already playing guitar. So, I mean, you got Buck Dharma on here, but a whole lot of this guitar is not Buck Dharma, which is wrong for a Blue Oyster Cult album. But this
Mhm.
thing kicks ass anyway, despite its confused, convoluted origins. Which, if you're interested in an entertaining story behind this album, there's all kinds of resources online to check the story out. It's quite a long, torturous journey. And now that I think of it, speaking of Albert, let me just give a quick plug to his. He has, in the last few years, put out this trilogy, which is his updated, rethought version of the Imaginos saga, because this is
I
a
gotta get
concept
those.
for
Yeah.
those who don't know, and has lots of guest stars on them. So if you're looking for more of what was originally intended, maybe you can check those out, but they're not going to sound like this at all. be forewarned. This is very 80s. It's very overproduced, you could say. It's thick with 1,000 studio musicians, but it really is a brilliant mess. This thing rocks. It kicks ass. But no matter who's playing what or singing what, somehow it works. And the story, the order of the songs on here is not really the way it's supposed to be. But considering the story itself is about basically a time traveling being, uh, it doesn't really matter what order the songs are in. The way he bounces around time, so it kind of fits no matter this random access. You could put it on shuffle and it would work just as well. They
Perfect.
do a an updated version of their fan favorite song "Astronomy" from the Secret Treaties album originally, and it's quite a bit different. I like this just as well as the original.
Cool.
It yeah, even with all the hey thrown in, it's still yeah, it kicks ass. And an updated version also of the song Subhuman, but here they call it Blue Oyster Cult, and you can decide for yourself whether they go too far into cheesy territory when they name check themselves. Blue Oyster Cult, we understand. Yeah. You know, when a band name checks themselves, they have to jump the shark, or are they cool enough to do it? I don't care. I just like it. So,
Jump the shark, but
yeah, it's possible. But anyway, and dig
that's my
that cover.
humble
I mean,
opinion.
come on, that's just it's the whole spooky vibe there and the ship on back.
That's a cool cover. I'm sorry, man. That
It
is,
really is. It's there's the inner
yeah,
with the convoluted story here. Much like my number one from '87, the Roger Waters Radio Chaos, you're gonna need to read the story and the lyrics to try to piece this beast together.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, they made it seem like the original band was back together based on the credits, even though Joe Bouchard is listed as keyboard and vocals, no bass. And Joe admitted that basically he may not even be on the album at all, possibly a couple little whittly keyboard bits, but
hmm,
possibly nothing. Uh, Albert was still all over this place, obviously, even if they took most of his vocals off. But
hmm,
yeah, I thought it was pretty deceptive of the record company because, you know, pre internet days and the way they credited it. In hindsight, it kind of pissed me off in later
yeah,
years when I found out what happened and got the story behind it.
yeah,
Yeah, there was not even close to a reunion of the original band or anything. This was
hmm,
just record company suits
yeah,
pulling strings.
yeah. Good
Hopefully,
old,
it worked out for a pretty damn cool album, though. So
yeah. Was that Columbia?
this is yep, CBS.
So that would be in my box set then,
Oh
probably.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Good old Columbia. Having to fly. Oh, never mind. Won't even go there. Um, just as a little side note, can you send me the list of those Albert Bouchard albums that, you know?
yeah,
Okay, cool. Moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, my number one album is this is where the Canadian contingent comes in. Joni Mitchell with Chalk Mark and a Rainstorm. Uh, to me, a fantastic album, art rock, art pop, whatever you want to call it, just melodic and beautiful. Featuring the lead single and hit single "My Secret Place," again featuring Mr. Peter Gabriel. He was all over the place in the '80s, guesting on albums. Very beautiful, um, almost like ethereal piece of music, um, with Joni Mitchell singing, and you've got Peter Gabriel doing co-lead vocals, and him overdubbing his vocals on the choruses. Just very emotive and ethereal, just beautiful. And the black and white grainy video that they did for it, that they shot for it, just amazing. Amazing. Other songs of note are number one, which is, I believe, track two on the album. Haven't, yes, it is actually, yes. Also, Lakota, again, speaking about Native American rights, uh, Dancing Clown featuring of all people, vocal contributions from Mr. Billy Idol, and featuring guitar work from Steve Stevens. I'm sorry, when you can get Steve Stevens to do a guitar solo in your track, you're doing something right. That's it, man. I'm done. The case closed, case one. That's it, man. Game set match. You're good to go. The Tea Leaf Prophecy, another fantastic track featuring Wendy Melvoin and Lisa Coleman, ex of the Revolution at this point. Just a great album, very strong. Other musicians of note on the album are Tom Petty, who also does work on Dancing Clown, Don Henley. Um, just amazing, just an amazing album. Joni Mitchell has always been an artist that she's never followed trends. Never followed trends. She didn't need to. She's Joni Mitchell. You know what I mean? She's Joni Mitchell. You should follow her. She shouldn't follow you. You know what I mean? So, and she just basically, with the Geffen years, did whatever she wanted to do. Obviously, she needed to sell records, but she did it on her own terms. And this is a fantastic album. You can stream it on YouTube. You can get it on Amazon. Just get this album if you want to sit back and just listen to um, intricate, sophisticated pop. And that is my number one.
Cool. We have very different number ones. I
Mhm.
have not actually ever heard that album. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've kind of wondered about her post 70s work before, but I've never really dug in
Yeah.
and explored it. So
This for me is where she started to do her, just quickly, her more avant-garde stuff in terms of, I mean, her album from 85, Dog Eat Dog, was more keyboard computer oriented. Thomas Dolby worked on the album with her and she really didn't like it. Um, Chuck Mark and the Rainstorm is where she's more of the art pop, art rock kind of thing, acoustic instruments and stuff like that. So yeah, live instrumentation. And you've got Steve Stevens. What more do you need? You know?
you said Thomas Dolby. Now you got me intrigued by Dog Eat Dog because I like Thomas Dolby quite a bit.
Yep. Yep. So your first honorable mention, sir.
You've already mentioned it. It's Living Color Vivid. This one, I do have a replacement for my old cassette, but I can't find my CD. I got my Times Up CD right over here, but I can't find Vivid. So at any rate, yeah, everything you said, it's a great album. And yeah, Cult of Personality is one of those songs. Even if the rest of the album wasn't as great as it is, that is one of those songs that big single could carry the album because it is such a stone cold classic. It's one of the greatest rock songs that came out in the 80s, just straight
Oh,
up.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
timeless.
yeah.
Yeah, lyrically and musically, it just kicks ass. So yeah, I won't belabor the point. You did a good description of it. So yeah, Living
I,
Color.
I'm I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your honorable mention. um,
No, that's all right. That's
but even that with that one lyric in Cult of Personality, I'm everything you want to be. Like, and just the way he screams at the end, like on the overdubs, like on the ad libs, right? It's just like I'm surprised his throat wasn't bleeding by the end of the recording session, right? Like, oh my God. Um, okay, that's a very good honorable mention. My first honorable mention, ladies and gentlemen, I really do need a tea. Um, is Prince with Love Sexy. All right. Now, forgive me for this. I'm surprised this even made an honorable mention. This was at a point where Prince felt he could do no wrong. Well, along came the idea for Love Sexy and him posing on the cover nude with his leg folded just so. Well, I'm here to say no, it didn't work. Okay. I mean, at this point, he got rid of the Sign of the Times band, which to me, you had guitarists like Nico Weaver, you had, keyboardist, organist Bonnie Boyer, um, Matt Fink, Sheila E. on drums. Like, you're an idiot to kick Sheila E. out of your band. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sheila Escovedo could kick anyone's ass on a drum kit 9 times over or 10 times over. I'm sorry. Songs like Alphabet Street, I Know, Glam Slam, uh, Anastasia, Dance On, the title track, um, I Wish You Heaven, which is probably the best track on the album, which is the shortest track on the album at 2 minutes and change. Has it stood the test of time? No. Um, did Prince miss the mark on this? Yes. He did. I'm sorry. It's an honorable mention for the sole fact of I Wish You Heaven. Okay. Otherwise, it's not memorable. It's not sexy. I'm sorry. I mean, Robert Plant did say that he did like that the title track because of the vocals were sped up, slowed down, da 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 da, whatever, whatever. But it's not a memorable album. Again, it's only an honorable mention due to I Wish You Heaven. And that's it. That's my first honorable mention.
All right. That's the most I've ever heard you give a smackdown to a Prince album. So it's good balance.
Yeah, it's too bad I didn't use a club to knock him over his head. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not good.
All right. My second honorable mention was kind of a novelty at the time, but a very popular one. It was a true super group. Got played a lot on the radio. At least four songs from this album. It's the Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1, featuring Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, and Tom Petty. Uh,
Oh,
it's quite a list. Unfortunately, only Jeff and Bob are still with us. Roy didn't last long after the success of this album, which is a damn shame. He didn't even
yeah.
get to see his solo album that came almost concurrently with this be quite successful either.
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
but yeah, he's quite brilliant on this, and I think the follow up kind of failed for me because of Roy's absence. He was part of the glue that really held them together. His haunted, gorgeous vocals, not alone anymore, always really stood out to me. And well, it's kind of Roy's thing. That's who he was. And you hear him sing, I'm so tired of being lonely. I still have some love to give. Oh my God, that's heart crushing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill will be performing at the Blue Note Lounge at 9 o'clock tonight. Be there and show your love and respect. Okay, I mean, from Mr. Bill Schuster, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, fantastic. You're good.
Well, thank you.
I
Not I'm no Roy though. There
know.
was only one Roy Orbison.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I just
All
couldn't
right.
resist that.
Yeah, there were a lot of songs that got a ton of radio play here. These guys got so much attention then. They were all kind of in each other's orbit. Handle with Care, Into the Line, Last Night, all these songs got a ton of play on the rock stations in 88 and 89.
Yeah.
Uh, and of course, they were all interconnected. Bob Dylan and Tom Petty toured together. Jeff Lynne, of course, the huge Beatles fan, produced George Harrison's massive comeback album. Uh, so yeah, there were lots of ways that these guys just kind of naturally came together as a super group.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, the follow up didn't quite hit the mark,
Hmm.
but yeah, they tried. But this one's still a good fun album, and it's great to know that these guys were doing it just because they enjoyed being together and making music together and having fun.
Hmm.
You can't really fake that. And these guys obviously admired, respected each other. So that shows.
Hmm.
That's that.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a good one. My last honorable mention for 1988, and it's gonna kick some people, is Robert Plant with Now and Zen.
Good one.
Um, when this album came out, everybody was like, with the title Now and Zen. Ooh, is he gonna do references back to his Zeppelin days? Like, oh, does this mean that he and Jimmy Page are gonna reunite and they're gonna start up Led Zeppelin again? No. Um, the album got a lot of airplay in Canada. It was a big success in Canada. The singles, Heaven Knows, featuring Jimmy Page on on guitar solo. Tall Cool One, which features sampling of um, the ocean from Houses of the Holy. The other single from the album, Ship of Fools. Um, I honestly thought when I heard that the samples that he was going to use from Led Zeppelin were going to be more prominently featured on the album. I thought it was going to be on a track called Billy's Revenge. To be honest with you guys, these three singles are really the only ones I remember from the album. Um, he said that at the time we did a press conference in New York, and he said, I think it was in New York, um, said that he felt that he confused the media enough with his catalog and thought that he should delve back into the more rock oriented stuff that he did with Zeppelin. Fine. Um, it's not a memorable album for me. I'm sorry. So that is why it is an honorable mention on my list for 1988.
In addition to those three singles that you mentioned, Dance on My Own got a lot of radio play around the St. Louis, Missouri market here in the States.
Okay, but then it could have gotten more airplay on the radio too. Maybe I didn't notice it.
I do dig all those singles quite a bit, really. And I think one of the most cool, clever lyrics that Plant's ever come up with is "You were pumping iron while I was pumping irony." I just always thought that was a neat lyric
Yeah,
for
okay.
whatever reason. That's, yeah,
Okay.
and
Well, it's
Heaven
fun.
Knows is a brilliant single, and yeah,
Okay. It was fun. Um, it is what it is. So, um, I mean, obviously, we're going to remember albums differently from the same time period, right? So,
oh yeah.
again, doesn't make it wrong, makes it different. I mean, different opinions. So, so there you have it, guys. Our top five albums of 1988 plus two honorable mentions. So, in the comments below, down there, please put your top five or whatever, however many you want to mention, and let us know what you think of our choices. We are going to be back with one more installment of the 80s, which will bring our 2 decades of top five albums to a close. For now, we will be back in a few weeks with our top five albums of the 90s and into the 2000s. But we feel that for our sanity, that we should give it a bit of a break for now. And we're going to come back with uh, new ideas for new shows. So for now, I will say goodnight. And I want to thank Mr. Bill Schuster for joining me on this episode. We will be back soon with our top five albums of 1989. Yes, one more year to go. And again, please look after yourselves and one another. Click the notification bell and to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. And yes, click like. That helps me too. So for Mr. Bill Schuster, I am Armando Venditti wishing you a good night and we'll see you soon with another video. Bye for now.